Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the parallel session 3 at Room C, with the topic is health and economic growth. I hope you all and family are in advanced health condition. I am Asari Priyadi as the moderator and assist by Ms. Wening, who will help you in the next 90 minutes. At this room, we have three exceptional presenters. However, we will still wait for another one, Mr. Martin, who will share their prominent papers. First is Ms. Siti Andhasah from the STIS Statistical Polytechnic. Good evening. The second is Mr. Martin Daniel, who hasn't come yet. The third is Ibu Chairina Hanum and Mr. Rifqi from LPEM, Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Indonesia. Before we start, let me explain the rules for the participant. The first is the total allocation for each paper is 30 minutes, including 15 to 20 minutes for the presentation, and the left minutes are for question and answer session. Presenter can exceed the presentation time, but it will reduce the time for question and answer. The second, participants are allowed to post questions within the Zoom chat or verbally. Please kindly use the raise hand button to post your question verbally. In case there is no one who posts the question, I will randomly choose one or two who will give their question or opinion verbally. And the third is be concise and respectful of others wishing to comment. Okay, without any further ado, I will invite our first exceptional presenter, Mrs. Siti Andhasah, to deliver the paper with the title is Determinant of Poverty for Disabilities, Monetary and Multidimensional Poverty. Mrs. Siti, the time is yours.
Thank you, sir. On the time, I will share screen first. It's cannot. Can you see my share screen?
Okay, clear enough.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to IRSA on the opportunity. My name is Siti Andhasah, and I am here with my partner Atik Suhartini. Today, I am going to talk to you about our research with titled Determinant of Poverty for Disabilities in Indonesia in Case Monetary and Multidimensional Poverty. This presentation will begin by introduction, then methodology, result, and the last is conclusion. The first part is introduction. Poverty is an essential problem that needs to be solved. High poverty level indicates the low quality of community's life, and it is capable of causing some economic, social, and political problems. Therefore, first goal of SDGs will end poverty everywhere. No one left behind principle show that will not leave behind anyone in development, including marginal groups. One of marginal group who vulnerable to poor are persons with disabilities. They are poor because loss of income, additional cost of their disability, and marginalization from social activities. Attention to poverty of disability in Indonesia is supported by the changing disability data from health indicators to social welfare indicators in PPS survey. It means that disability data more reflects to poverty alleviation and not only a population data. Based on Semeru analysis using Susenas 2018, monetary poverty rate of people with disabilities in Indonesia is still higher than non-disabled. That is 14.9% compared to 9.5%. This achievement is still below from government work work plan target of 13 in 2020. Moreover, the proportion of people with disabilities also increases along with lower incomes, while for non-disabled people is the opposite. It means that there is welfare gap among people with disabilities and non-disabilities in Indonesia. Consequently, the realization of inclusive development is obstructive. On the other hand, Amartya Sen said that need alternative measures that can describe holistically poverty. And the alternative is multidimensional approach that, according to Alkir 2002, multidimensional approach more appropriate to evaluate policies in human development. Based on that background, this study aims to examine the characteristic monetary and multidimensional poverty among people with disabilities in Indonesia and identifying the determinant of monetary and multidimensional poverty among people with disability in Indonesia. According to Susenas 2019, an individual more than 2 years old defined as disability if always or a lot has difficulty. World Bank defined monetary poverty use income approach, while BPS use expenditure approach. Then Amartya Sen defined multidimensional poverty use capability approach that consists of two basic concepts, that is functioning and capability. The study selects some relevant studies to developing the research framework. First, study of Bella 2016 about poverty among head household with disability in Indonesia using binary logistic regression. And then Ronsancio et al. 2020 analyzes multidimensional poverty among disability in India, Cameroon, and Guatemala. And then study of Kang 2014 about poverty among disability in South Korea using multi-level analysis. And the last is study of Mori and Yamagata 2009 about income of people with disability in Manila using ordinary least square and logistic analysis. Based on that previous study, the study aims to know is the combination of internal and external factors of people with disabilities in Indonesia affect their monetary and multidimensional poverty. And the next part is methodology. The study used Susenas score March 2019 from PPS and covers people with disabilities 6 until 64 years old. The first dependent variable is monetary poor status that measured by urban-rural provincial poverty line, and second dependent variable is multidimensional poor status that measured by Alkir-Foster method. To determine multidimensional poor status, first we need to determine the unit of analysis and then determine the dimension indicators and so it deprivation cutoff. And this study used 3 dimensions and 11 indicators adapted from some relevant studies. And then determine the weight and calculate the deprivation score and also determine the poverty cutoff. This study set poverty cutoff at 0.4. And someone is multidimensional poor if the deprivation score more than poverty cutoff. And this is the research dimension and indicators. The data analyzed using bivariate binary logistic regression, and this method has 2 response variables and assume there is interaction between the response variable. And this model also involves 4 bivariate observation probability, and they are component of cross-odds ratio, that is association measurement of 2 response variable. And then the marginal model are as follow. Because P is not linear, so we need logit transformation, and the logit model are as follow. Eta 1 is monetary poverty marginal model, Eta 2 is multidimensional poverty marginal model, and Eta 3 is transformation odds ratio model. The analysis starts with testing the independence of response variable using chi-square test, and then parameter estimation using maximum likelihood estimation, and then testing the goodness of fit models using deviance test, and then simultaneous testing, and then partial testing using well test, and the last is interpretation the odds ratio. The next part is result and discussion. Based on that figure, there are 10.1% with people with disabilities who are monetary poor, 19.2% who are multidimensional poor, and 4.6% are both. The highest incidence of poverty occurs in the multidimensional poverty. The most people with disabilities who are multidimensional poor are deprived in education and assets indicators. BPS data showed that the number of private or swasta special schools in Indonesia is more than state or negeri status. Due to the higher cost of private school, it is possible that the decision to send them to school is highly considered by their parents. And then when a household has no assets, it means there is no research to generate their future income. Self-care disability has the highest multidimensional poor at 30.8%. Maybe it happened because they always need help of others to carry out their daily activities. Meanwhile, emotional disability has the highest percentage of monetary poor at 22.2%. According to Trani 2010, people with mental disabilities are more likely to be unemployed than sensory disabilities. Poverty rate decreased drastically when education increased. This condition indicates that the education of people with disabilities become main factors to reducing poverty. And based on Table 2, proportion of men and women with disabilities who are monetary or multidimensional poor is not much different. And percentage of monetary and multidimensional poverty always higher in rural areas, head of household with primary education, and work in non-agriculture sector. To determine the factors affect monetary and multidimensional poverty of persons with disabilities, first we should test independence between two response variables using chi-square test, and results show reject the null hypothesis. So there is interaction between two response variables. And then deviance test show that failed to reject the null hypothesis, so the model was fit. And likelihood ratio test show reject the null hypothesis, so there is at least one predictor variable that affect the response variable. Based on Table 2, beta R1 is marginal model of monetary poverty, beta R2 is marginal model of multidimensional poverty, and gamma R is odds ratio transformation model. On the odds ratio transformation model, there is no variable significantly affect the interaction between monetary and multidimensional poverty. And in general, type of disability affect monetary and multidimensional poverty with odds ratio is around 1. It means that all type of disability have similar probability to poor. And then sex only significantly affect multidimensional poverty. Meanwhile, the odds ratio close to 1. So men and women with disabilities have similar opportunities to poor. Education has a positive effect on monetary and multidimensional poverty. The tendency of persons with disabilities with primary education to multidimensional poor is 27 times compared to people with disability with middle education. It means that education plays an important role to getting out from poverty. And then regional classification has significant positive effect on monetary and multidimensional poverty. And according to Kang 2014, employment opportunities for people with disabilities are more open in urban areas. And then number of persons with disabilities in household only significant effect the monetary poverty. According to Bella 2015, this happened because of the conversion handicap, which is an additional cost related to their disability. Headed household education has significant positive effect monetary and multidimensional poverty. With higher education, their income will be greater. And according to Lamesani and Kawakatsu 2015, the higher headed household education level is more likely to send his special children to school. And head of household who do not work has a positive effect on monetary poverty, but has negative effect on multidimensional poverty. Based on research data, there are 49% people with disability with headed household who are over 60 years old. Maybe they have sufficient assets that can be used to improve their current standard of living. And then the agriculture sector has a significant positive effect on monetary poverty in disability. Based on that result, we can conclude that disability who are poor dominated by those with primary education living in rural area, have head of household working in agriculture and primary education. The majority of people with disabilities who are multidimensional poor are deprived in assets and education indicators. And all variable except sex significantly affect monetary poverty. All variable except the number of disability in household significantly affect multidimensional poverty. And education of persons with disabilities play a very important role in getting out of poverty because it produces greatest tendency to poor. And the recommendation for government is, besides giving money, government should provide assistive device for every person with disability. And then government should promote and realize compulsory education for person with disability at least 9 years to get out from poverty. The study still use cross-sectional data. For the research, can use panel data to know development of poverty among person with disability in Indonesia. Thank you, and that's all my presentation.
Thank you for Ms. Siti for the outstanding presentation, and for the Ms. Siti and Ms. Atik for the who already conduct this research. Yes, I will open the question and answer session. Is there anyone who want to ask? Please raise your hand. Or you can put in the chat box. Okay, since there is no one, I will choose one from the second team who will give their question or their opinion about this research. I will invite Ms. Hanum Siregar or Mr. Rifqi Aufari from the second team who will give the question or give the opinion about this research. Please, the time is yours. Ms. Hanum or Ms. Rifqi, you can ask the question or give your opinion about this research, this paper. Okay, or from any other participant? There is no? Okay, if there is no question, I will ask one question. I was wondering that the poverty and disabilities is the general issue in the developing country or developed country like Japan and Korea. In the suggestion, you already mentioned for the government. Okay. For the government, should do for the making the poor, poverty, and disability have the standard of living. For the small coverage, you have any suggestion for the community instead of the government to build the program to make poverty and the disability have the higher standard of living, like that. Since the government maybe takes a longer time, instead of the community will take the shorter time, so the impact will get the shorter to the poverty and the disabilities.
Thank you on the question, sir. I want to try answer the question about how to communities
to help the increase the standard of living of the poverty and the disabilities.
Communities to help out from poverty, and may I answer in Indonesia, sir?
It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you. Peran komunitas untuk meningkatkan, untuk membantu penyandang disabilitas keluar dari kemiskinan itu melalui mulai menerima dan tidak memarginalkan penyandang disabilitas dan mulai melibatkan penyandang disabilitas dalam segala kegiatan. Jadi kalau di standard of living ini itu lebih ke pengukuran multidimensinya. Jadi hanya bisa ditentukan oleh rumah tangga itu sendiri karena itu adalah level rumah tangga. Sementara peran community atau masyarakatnya itu lebih untuk mulai menerima, membuka bahwa sebenarnya penyandang disabilitas itu memiliki kemampuan yang sama dengan non-disabilitas, mulai diajak beraktivitas dan tidak memarginalkannya dalam lingkungan. Seperti itu.
Okay. Yes, there is another question. I want to ask a question too, but I can use the rest on the Okay, Mr. Wening, you can ask verbally.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to ask. It was such a great presentation. I'm Wening and I'm from Economics Undergraduate Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Gadjah Mada. I want to ask about the government's program for the disability people such as PKD or Balai Kerja Difabel. How did you fit the governmental program into the models to avoid it as an omitted variable bias? Thank you.
May I answer in Indonesia?
Sure, thank
you. Okay, sure.
Jadi pertanyaannya mengenai peran pemerintah dalam memasukkan ke variabel itu sendiri ya?
Betul Kak, agar tidak menjadi omitted variable bias.
Jadi kalau menurut saya peran pemerintah kan ini tuh kalau untuk memasukkan ke dalam variabel itu kita memerlukan data. Jadi kita tergantung ketersediaan data itu sendiri. Kalau saran pemerintah yang itu saya sarankan tadi itu hanya mengenai untuk memberikan wajib belajar kepada pemerintah agar setiap penyandang disabilitas itu memiliki dipastikan pendidikannya memiliki pendidikan begitu. Jadi susah kalau untuk dimasukkan ke dalam variabel penelitian. Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Maybe addition and sharing.
Okay, Miss Ati, yeah, the time is yours.
Yes, thank you for the host. This research covering Indonesian data. So, if we want to include policy as variable, maybe better we can study case. That is the burden because we use national data in micro level, in individual. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other question from the other teams or the other participants? Okay, if there is no question, I will close the first presentation and we will move on to the second presentation. Thank you for Ms. Siti for the exceptional presentation. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, now I will invite the second presenter. Since Mr. Martin is not available here, I will move on to the third presenter, Ms. Hanum, and from the LPEM Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Indonesia, with the title is The Perks of Well-Being Targeting Social Protection Program, Social Protection Program, the Impact of Kartu Prakerja Program to Mental Health. Okay, the time is yours for Ms. Hanum.
Thank you very much, Pak Ashari. Dear ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you for joining this session. I'm Hanum. I'm a researcher at LPEM FAB UI. This afternoon, together with my colleague Rifqi Aufari, I would like to present our recent study titled "The Perks of Well-Targeting Social Protection Program: The Impact of Kartu Prakerja Program to Mental Health." Actually, this is not only me and Aufari's study, but also the rest of team. We have Nia, Hamdan, Bintara, Wildan, Anky, and also Raka. I will share my presentation. Okay, wait. It's so maybe Aufari, can you share the screen since I got a trouble with the screen share feature. So sorry.
Okay, maybe the other member will. Okay, Pak Rifqi.
Okay.
Is it working?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So as we know that the COVID-19 pandemic is caused the economic shock to the whole world, especially to Indonesia, and it's impacted Indonesian people's income, and which also led to the impact to their to the mental health of Indonesian workers. So our study will elaborate about this case. So just a brief about this study. So for the next slide. So just about for the brief for this study. Actually, this study is use the data from the survey which conducted by LPEM from August to September 2020. It's involved 400 respondents, and I will tell about the detail of this survey later. And the survey actually covered many social and economic aspects, including mental health, and this study is only a small part of this survey. And due to the scope of this study and limited time of survey, mental health was measured to basic emotions such as happiness, anger, and sadness, and also anxiety, which is these indicators are also taken from the mental health tests such as GAD-7 and also PHQ-9. Then from this survey, and from this survey, we find out that most of our respondents experience the decrease of happiness level. It's shown by 51.7. 67% of our respondents experience the decrease of happiness level. So it could be a sign that the condition of mental health is worsening by the COVID-19 pandemic. And also our study also found out that the anxiety level it also increased. Experienced by the increase of the anxiety level is experienced by 69.6% of our respondents, and so do with the sadness level and anger level, which is also increased, and this increasing level is experienced by more than 30% of our respondents. Comparing to a study that conducted by SurveyMeter in 2020, in SurveyMeter study, they found out that the depression level of the people aged 25 till 29 years is double than their previous study in 2017. This condition is driven by the COVID-19 related policies such as self and social isolation, and also by decreasing income or lost jobs experienced by the workers. And then our study also found out that most of our respondents was experienced the loss of jobs, which it's shown by the number of the respondents which previously working is more than during the survey, and then the number of respondents that become unemployed is bigger pandemic. So we can conclude that based on our survey that there is an increasing of unemployed percentage during the COVID-19 pandemic. So our research question is how is the impact of allocation of Kartu Prakerja program to mental health condition in Indonesia during the COVID-19 pandemic? And from this, since we found out that there is a still limited study that explain about the impact of social protection program during the economic shock, especially COVID-19 pandemic to the mental health. So there is still a room for this study to fulfill the gap to empirical research, especially on Indonesia cases, as the representative of developing countries. And this is the definition of mental health. WHO in 2030 define mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes that his or her own potential can cope with the normal status of life and can work productively or faithfully. And to our literature study, we also find out that the mental health has a relation with the unemployment, where the job loss can be considered as a stressor, which provokes mental health problems. It will affect individual behaviors, cognitions, and emotions, and the material and social context of life, which then this will result the psychosocial environment that influencing positive self-regard and productivity. Then mental health also has a relation with the unemployment. Recent study from Griffiths, he tried to elaborate about the relationship between how unemployment affected the mental health. He found out that the working age people who lost their jobs at the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic are likely to experience the psychological distress as well as poor mental health and also physical health due to the reduce of resources such as income and social interaction. Meanwhile, for the study that conducted by Huborn, he used Thailand as a cases. He found out that the financial problems are significantly detrimental to mental health. That the individuals who lost their income by 50% due to the COVID-19 has a higher risk of anxiety compared to them who are not experience the loss of income. And furthermore, social assistance also has an impact to the mental health. Our literature study found out that in South Africa, a study by Posel found out that social grants such as cash transfer will against the incidence of depressive symptoms. And in Indonesia itself, the government has during the COVID-19 has initiated a lot of social assistance. One of it is Kartu Prakerja program, which previously it's designed to increase the skill and to fulfill the skill gap between the workers, but due to the COVID-19, it's also become a coping strategy for to helping people purchasing power during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is quite different from other social assistance programs since it is on-demand program, when the necessity of the program depends on the participants. So more about the survey. This study using the primary survey data. We conducted a survey on August until September 2020. The survey is not only about the mental health, but also several aspects such as social and economics aspects, and it involving 4,000 respondents throughout Indonesia. This is an online survey. We use email and telephone. And for the sampling method, we use multi-stage random sampling method. The respondent was collected to the macromial Indonesian database, and this is considering the geographical location, occupational and marital status. We have 3 stages of sampling. The first stage is based on the number of provinces in one island, and also the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the province. And the second is based on the occupation and marital status, and the third is taking a random sample based on the population that has been previously segmented. For the unit analysis of this study is an individual who age minimum 18 years old and have applied for Kartu Prakerja program and use descriptive analysis and ordered logic regression analysis as a method. We have 4 independent variables: happiness, anxiety, sadness, and anger. This is self-assessed variables for the respondents. We ask them whether they experience the increase, decrease, or steady several basic emotions. Meanwhile, we have several dependent variables, and this is a dummy variable such as prakerja, marriage and working status, age, gender, location, education, and income. And this is our the result of our descriptive analysis that we found out that the happiness level is most of our respondents experience the decrease of happiness level and increase of anxiety, sadness, and anger level. And furthermore, the income changes is most of our respondents, 59.6 experience a decrease in income. And then relating to the descriptive analysis, our descriptive analysis found out that about 56.6% of our respondents who didn't apply for the Kartu Prakerja program experienced the decrease in income. Meanwhile, most of them who applied for the Kartu Prakerja program and become accepted and not accepted also experience decrease in income. And then for the working status, most of our respondents that accepted who registered for the Kartu Prakerja program and being accepted for this program is previously is not working. And for the result of this study, my colleague, Mr. Rifqi Aufari will explain more. So please, Rifqi, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hanum. In order to find a relationship between Kartu Prakerja and mental health variable, we made these regression models. As we can see that Kartu Prakerja program is only significant to anxiety, sadness, and anger variable. The relationship between Kartu Prakerja program and happiness is insignificant. We suspect that it may be caused by the COVID-19 pandemic situation, which supported by LPEM UI's survey result that 51.67% of respondents declared that they experienced decreasing of happiness. This regression result contradicts with several previous research, such as Ford et al. In 2010. The paper itself is explained about the relationship between social benefit in England and CMD or common mental disorders. It found that majority of social benefit given by England government are significantly and positively correlated with CMD. except job seekers allowance social benefit. Job seekers allowance social benefit itself is a social benefit given by the government, England government, for underemployed workers, people who work under 40 hours per week. Compare with Kartu Prakerja program. Kartu Prakerja program also give some monetary benefits. So we suggest that there are some similarities between GSA in England and Kartu Prakerja program in Indonesia, and it does not give any social deprivation to its receivers. The result also contradicts with Rodriguez et al. In 2001, where the study found that men and women who are not working and receiving means tested or welfare benefits are more likely to report depression in both short and long term. The study argues that the reason of this phenomenon is because the amount of benefit that provided by the program is not sufficient to positively influence their mental health conditions. On the other hand, as I explained before, that Kartu Prakerja is not only about Kartu Prakerja is not only about monetary reform. It is also provides training benefits. So Kartu Prakerja gives opportunity to upscaling skills. That guarantees for the beneficiaries that they not only can afford their needs by the monetary benefit, but also wider opportunity to get a better job, especially for them who got a job loss. So comparing with Rodriguez finding that we conclude that Kartu Prakerja's benefit is sufficient enough to influence the mental health condition of its receivers. Besides Kartu Prakerja variable, there are also some variables that have interesting results. For example, being a worker in this condition of pandemic is actually reduce your anxiety, sadness, and anger level. According to WER, there are several benefits of employment, including money, activity, variety, time structure, social contracts, and sense of identity. Also, being a male in this pandemic situation is also improving your mental health condition, where it's reducing your anxiety and sadness level. We suggest that assume that the males are head of their household, they have responsibilities from their job, and it is actually improving their mental health, and they are feeling more secure because of their income security during the pandemic. Hanum.
So from this study, we can conclude that yes, the condition of people's mental health is worsening due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and then the allocation of Kartu Prakerja program have an impact to people's mental health condition, and it's beyond of the objective of this program. So this result shows that importance of Kartu Prakerja is not only gives impact to the skill development and income, but also the mental health condition of its receiver. And then for this, from this study, we also can recommend several policy recommendations, such as that mental health is related to the worker productivity, and it's important to keep the well state of workers' mental health. So it is good to continuing the Kartu Prakerja program, since it can bring a good impact on workers' mental health. Furthermore, in terms of mental health, several assistantship is from by the professionals with a simple yet easy access is needed by the workers, not only the workers actually, but also the productive age person. And this is the limitation of our study, that our study needs to explore broader indicators of mental health. So not only four basic emotion, but also larger indicators such as depression and then this lack of sleep and many things. We have to explore more with broader indicators of mental health. And then since this study was conducted at the beginning of the pandemic, so the survey is conducted at the beginning of the pandemic. So and also the early phase of Kartu Prakerja implementation. So the condition might be different nowadays. So it can be we should assess more on this. But LPEM just has finished conducted new survey at the end of June, and the survey has elaborated more on this mental health and using broader indicators of mental health. We can compare this the conditions with the new data. Maybe that's all from us. Thank you very much, and we are very open for from the participants for our improvement of our study. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so give the applause for the presenter who have delivered the outstanding topic about the mental health and the impact of the Kartu Prakerja. Okay, I will invite the other teams. The first team, Ibu Miss Siti and Miss Atik. Do you have any question or have any opinion about this paper?
Maybe I want to ask one question.
Okay, Miss Atik, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm interested with the result of regression. Can you show me the result?
Can you present the regression of the result? Mr. Rifqi, yeah.
Focus on variable income. There is three types of income: decrease, steady, and increase. When income steady and increase, this variable significant in all dependent variable. But I'm interested with the negative sign when income steady or increase. Can you tell me the meaning of the negative sign? Of the coefficient.
Okay, Ms. Hanum or Mr. Rifqi, you can directly answer the question about the negative effect.
Maybe I will try to answer the question. Thank you, Ms. Ati. This sign, the negative sign, shows that if the respondents is having a steady or increasing income, they will feel the reduce of anxiety level. So they become more secure. They will, since they have a steady income, have an increased income, they have become more secure, and it will reduce their anxiety level. It will reduce their anger. It will reduce their sadness. Maybe Aufari wanna add more explanation?
Same with Hanum's explanation that the negative sign from the coefficient shows the reduction of anxiety level, sadness level, and anger level. So we can conclude that when they experience the increase of their income, they are experiencing the reduce of anxiety, sadness, and anger level.
Can I respond the answer?
It's okay. Go on, Ms. Atik.
Thank you very much for the explanation. It's very interesting result combined with Kartu Prakerja. It saw the same result. Prakerja reduce anxiety, sadness, and anger, but added happiness. And inline result with income where their income steady on increase, it will add happiness but reduce anxiety, sadness, and anger. Isn't it? Is
Yes.
true?
Because Kartu Prakerja, the benefit of Kartu Prakerja is not only a training, but also monetary benefit. Once the person receive accepted on Kartu Prakerja program, he or she not only can apply for a training that they choose, but also they can get monetary income, which is it can be a hope for them as their income is reduced, so it can reduce their anxiety, their sadness, and also and will get more.
Miss Hanum, are you freezing?
Open with
Miss Hanum, you are freezing. You can rewind your
Okay.
answer.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear? Okay. Sorry. Yes. Since Kartu Prakerja is not only giving monetary, it's not only giving the opportunities for the beneficiaries for taking training, but also a monetary benefit. So the monetary benefit can be a cope for them as the reducing of income, and it of course it will decrease their anxiety level, sadness level, and anger level, and also it will increase their happiness level, because the benefit is not only for training but also the monetary benefit, which can be a cope for the reducing of income. Maybe Aufari want to add more explanation?
Same with Kak Hanum, the explanation is already final, already complete. So it's enough.
Okay, Ms. Ati, are you already clear about the explanation about the impact
yes,
for the Kartu
clear.
Prakerja? Okay.
It's clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the.
Thank you, Ms. Ati.
Okay, since we have another minute to for this session, I will invite another question from the participant. Oh, okay, there is one from the student assistant, Ms. Wening. You can deliver your question.
Okay, thank you for the opportunities to ask. I want to ask about the possibility of a bias. Kartu Prakerja is given to people in order to increase their capabilities so that they can possibly get a better quality of life. But how about the willingness to learn after they receive the Kartu Prakerja itself? We cannot measure with a form way to the willingness to learn of everyone, as willingness to learn with the facilities provided by Kartu Prakerja is different and changing over time for each individual. Is it possible that willingness to learn could be an omitted variable bias to the model? Is there any proxy variable that you use to handle that possibilities? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wening, for the question. It's very interesting question actually, but unfortunately, our study has not accommodated about the willingness to learn from the beneficiaries. Since from the survey we have not any variables that will give the information about their willingness to learn. But maybe if we have another survey in the future about Kartu Prakerja, maybe can the variable about the willingness to learn is very interesting to be elaborated.
Maybe for the next research, for the next, since LPEM UI already conduct another research who ended in June 2021. Okay.
Yeah.
For the future research, can be added with the willingness to learn.
Yes.
Okay.
It will be very interesting.
Okay, I will invite one more question. Is there any question for other participants? Okay, if there is no, okay, is there anyone? Okay, I think we are already clear and we are already understand about the paper and the result and the finding about this research. So we now come to the end of the session. Okay, thank you very much for both team presenter for the outstanding and exceptional research and the finding that we will benefit for us in the future. Okay, thank you very much. I ended this session. A good evening to everyone.